Imagine the spotlight still shining, the music still playing, and the crowd still cheering until everything suddenly falls silent. They were icons, trailblazers, dazzling forces of talent and charisma. And then, just like that, they were gone. Not from scandal, not from old age, but from a virus that stole an entire generation far too soon.
I am here because my son and I may not survive.
Their beauty, their strength, their legacies, all overshadowed by whispers of a disease the world once feared to even name. This isn't just about loss, it's about remembering the women who lit up the world, only to be dimmed by something they never saw coming. This story is about famous women who died of AIDS. What happens when a fashion icon becomes a voice for an invisible crisis? Tina Chow, model muse and visionary jewelry designer, defined 1980s elegance with her androgynous Eton crop and minimalist style, captivating designers from Yves Saint Laurent to Issey Miyake. But beneath the glamour, Tina sought deeper meaning. After losing friends to AIDS, Tina contracted HIV in 1985 through a relationship with French aristocrat Kim de Stainville. Diagnosed with AIDS in 1989, she became one of the most prominent women to publicly share her diagnosis, challenging the stigma that AIDS was only a gay man's disease. Tina turned to holistic healing, embraced Tibetan Buddhism, and created jewelry infused with spiritual symbolism. Her Kyoto bracelet now resides in museum collections. Tina passed away in 1992 at 41 at her home in Pacific Palisades. Her legacy is one of courage, transformation, and authenticity, a reminder that true style is about resilience and the grace to face adversity head-on. Cookie Muller, actress, writer, and underground icon, was a force in the 1970s and 80s art scenes.
I got a knife here in my pocketbook and I'm gonna cut you up.
She starred in John Waters' cult films like Pink Flamingos, penned fearless essays, and offered candid advice in her Ask Dr. Muller column. Cookie was also a devoted mother, and her wild, wise spirit made her a legend in New York's downtown art world. In 1989, at just 40, Cookie died from AIDS-related pneumonia, about 8 weeks after her husband, artist Vittorio Scarpati. Their final collaboration, Pootie's Pudding, paired his poignant drawings with her prose, capturing their shared battle with the disease. Cookie's ashes were scattered across the globe, from Provincetown to Italy, New York, Rio, and the Ganges, mirroring her free spirit. Her legacy endures through her writings, her son, and the vivid memories of those who knew her. As she once wrote, "You will be the same, except you won't have to worry about rent or mortgages or fashionable clothes. You will be free." Cookie lived and died on her own terms. What happens when a beloved TV icon faces a silent battle? Amanda Blake, forever Miss Kitty on Gunsmoke, was more than a saloon keeper.
Why not? Because it wouldn't have done me any good.
She was a trailblazer in animal welfare and a symbol of resilience. After surviving oral cancer in 1980 and undergoing surgery in 1984, she became a passionate advocate for the American Cancer Society, earning the Courage Award from President Reagan.
I just want to say that this is really better than the Academy Award. I've got the President of the United States as the presenter.
In 1989, Amanda passed away at 60. While her death was first reported as cancer-related, her doctor later confirmed she died from AIDS-related complications, specifically liver failure caused by CMV hepatitis. It's believed she contracted HIV from her fifth husband, Mark Spaeth, who died of AIDS in 1985. Fearing her illness might overshadow her animal advocacy, Amanda kept her diagnosis private. Her legacy endures through the Arizona Animal Welfare League and her pioneering work in animal conservation. Amanda Blake's life reminds us that true strength often lies in quiet determination and unwavering commitment to one's passions.
Right into the lens down there. That's it.
What if the face that defined beauty also revealed fashion's darkest truths? Gia Karangi wasn't just a model, she was the model. In the late 70s and early 80s, she graced the covers of Vogue and Cosmopolitan, fronted campaigns for Dior, Versace, and YSL, and became the world's first supermodel with her raw androgynous allure. But behind the camera, Gia battled heroin addiction, fueled by personal trauma and the pressures of fame. By 1983, her meteoric career had unraveled. After leaving modeling, she struggled to rebuild her life, but her addiction persisted. In 1986, at just 26, Gia died from AIDS-related complications, one of the first famous women to do so, likely contracting the virus through shared needles. Her funeral was sparsely attended. The fashion world, silent and distant, stayed away. Gia's story, later portrayed by Angelina Jolie in the HBO film Gia,
I'm here to see Wilhelmina Cooper. I have an appointment. Gia Marie Karangi.
Remains a haunting reminder of the industry's unforgiving nature and the human cost behind the glamour. What if a mother's love could ignite a global movement? In 1981, Elizabeth Glaser contracted HIV from a blood transfusion while giving birth to her daughter, Ariel. Unaware of her infection, she passed the virus to Ariel through breastfeeding, and later to her son, Jake, in utero. The family only discovered their HIV status in 1985, after Ariel began suffering from mysterious illnesses. At a time when pediatric AIDS was barely understood and treatments for children didn't exist, Elizabeth faced the devastating loss of Ariel in 1988. Determined to save Jake and other children, Elizabeth co-founded the Pediatric AIDS Foundation with friends Susie Zegan and Susan De Laurentiis.
And that not only there wasn't a team, there wasn't a captain, and we were really the only players on the team.
Her passionate speech at the 1992 Democratic National Convention challenged government inaction and brought national attention to the crisis.
I am here because my son and I may not survive.
Elizabeth Glaser died in 1994 at age 47, but her legacy lives on through the Elizabeth Glaser Pediatric AIDS Foundation, which continues to fight for an AIDS-free generation. Her story proves how personal tragedy can spark a global force for change. What if one person could challenge every norm, on screen, in faith, and in life? Karen Dior, born Jeffrey Gann and adopted into a Southern Baptist family in Missouri, transformed from small-town roots to become a trailblazer in adult entertainment and mainstream media. In the late 80s, she broke barriers as one of the first transgender performers in bisexual and trans adult films, later landing roles in shows like Xena, Warrior Princess, and Veronica's Closet.
Looking for this?
After contracting HIV in 1995, Dior became a passionate AIDS activist. She wrote the memoir Sleeping Under the Stars, released the album SEX, and performed with bands like the Johnny Depp Clones and Goddess. Earning a PhD in philosophy of religion, she also became an ordained minister, blending artistry, advocacy, and spirituality. Karen Dior died in 2004 at age 37 from hepatitis after a long battle with AIDS. Her legacy endures as a testament to resilience and the courage to live authentically. What happens when a voice that unites cultures is silenced by stigma? Ofra Haza, known as the Madonna of the East, rose from Tel Aviv's Hatikva neighborhood to global stardom, blending Yemenite melodies with modern pop and captivating audiences worldwide. Her music earned her Grammy nominations and performances at events like the Nobel Peace Prize ceremony. In 2000, at just 42, Haza died from AIDS-related complications. Her illness was kept secret, reflecting the deep stigma surrounding HIV/AIDS in Israel. The exact source of her infection remains uncertain, with speculation swirling around her private life and her husband, Doron Ashkenazi, who died a year later. Haza's fear of public exposure reportedly led her to avoid standard AIDS treatment, a decision that may have hastened her decline. Her death shocked the nation and sparked vital conversations about privacy, public health, and the stigma of AIDS. Yet, her legacy as a cultural ambassador endures, reminding us of music's power to transcend boundaries and the need for compassion over judgment. What if the dance floor's brightest star was dimmed before her time? Sharon Redd, the powerhouse behind 80s dance hits like Can You Handle It and Beat the Street, was more than a disco diva. As a former harlot with Bette Midler and a collaborator with legends like Luther Vandross, her electrifying voice lit up clubs and airwaves. Born in 1945, Sharon's career spanned continents and genres, making her a true icon of dance music.
How many times you've been in love?
In 1992, at just 46, Sharon died from AIDS-related pneumonia. Her immune system, weakened by the virus, couldn't recover after she suffered an injury on stage, a stark reminder of how HIV/AIDS devastated so many lives. Despite her influence, her passing received little attention, reflecting how Black women with HIV were often overlooked. Sharon's legacy lives on in every beat that moves us, and in the memories of those who danced to her music. She turned every song into a celebration, leaving an indelible mark on the world of dance. What if living your truth meant risking it all? Alexis Arquette, born into Hollywood royalty, blazed her own trail as a fearless actress and transgender activist.
What look I'm going for, if I'm going for a natural girl, I should look like a normal woman. It would only take 40 minutes.
From unforgettable roles in Pulp Fiction and The Wedding Singer, to her candid journey in the documentary She's My Brother, Alexis shattered norms and championed authenticity.
How can love...
Diagnosed with HIV at just 18, she lived with the virus for 29 years. On September 11, 2016, surrounded by family and serenaded with David Bowie's Starman, Alexis passed away at 47. The cause, cardiac arrest, with HIV-related complications at its root. Her family honored her legacy by founding the Alexis Project, providing affirming care and support for LGBTQ+ individuals. Alexis's story reminds us, true courage isn't just facing the world, it's embracing yourself no matter the cost. What if healing others meant risking your own life? Dr. Lucille Teasdale-Cordy, one of Canada's first female surgeons, dedicated 35 years to serving Uganda. In 1961, with her husband Dr. Piero Cordy, she co-founded St. Mary's Hospital La Cour, transforming it into a lifeline during war and epidemics.
Sometimes she couldn't avoid to have 5, 6, 7, 8 operations a day there.
In the late 1970s, while operating on war casualties, Lucille was likely exposed to HIV, a time when protective measures were minimal. She began experiencing symptoms in 1982 and was diagnosed with AIDS in 1985, yet she continued to care for patients, train Ugandan doctors, and expand the hospital's reach. Even as her health declined, she worked tirelessly, performing over 13,000 surgeries and inspiring a new generation of medical professionals.
It put the patient first. You have other things, your needs and so on, but the patient was first.
Lucille died in 1996, her legacy living on in the hospital she built and the countless lives she touched, a testament to courage, compassion, and unwavering dedication. They were more than just victims of a virus. These women were mothers, daughters, artists, icons, taken too soon during a time when stigma spoke louder than science. But their stories deserve to be heard, not hidden. What could have happened if the world had acted sooner? If compassion had come before judgment? Let's remember them not for how they died, but for how they lived, loved, and left their mark. Drop your thoughts in the comments, subscribe for more stories like this, and keep their memory alive, because in telling their stories, we give them back their spotlight. Until next time, stay curious, and never forget,